called it the Leafs were going to win their third in a row. It's the Oilers. Leafy things do not always mean bad things. They just mean things that the Leafs do. Yeah, but I got nothing. He's right. Let's go! It starts with an A and ends with anxiety. Off the charts levels of passion. That's just a nightmare. With you wherever you are. Welcome to LFR. 3 in a row victory, puppies! That's $50 for the Humane Society of Durham Region for the win. Leafs win 5-2 over the Edmonton Oilers, or as I like to say, the Edmonton Oilers lose 5-2 to Bobby McMahon's team. The Leafs win 3 straight, down is west and up is purple. Let's talk about it. Now, we made the decision. The vast majority of Leafs Nation made the decision. A few games ago, they're selling. You still want them to win, and actually we're going to get to that, but they're selling. And they beat Vancouver, and you're like, it's Vancouver. And they beat Calgary, and I mean, Calgary's Calgary. Like, even though the Leafs are having a nightmare season and they haven't been very good, you can still confidently say they should beat both of those teams. Listen, they've been bad. They're not that bad. They're not in that class of bad, and we'll talk about that. But I just look at this back to back. I look at this on the schedule. I looked at this a month ago, and I was like, boy, that last game before the Olympics is going to be hard. You're on the Western road trip. You're playing so many games in so few nights. You have a 10 p.m. Eastern game against Calgary, and then the next night, no matter how that game in Calgary went, you gotta go to Edmonton, and the game starts 22 and a half hours after the last one did. Which means it starts 20 hours after the game ended to go up against Connor McDavid and his band of merry guys who score at will. It doesn't look good. The Oilers should clearly be favored in that scenario. And that is why the moment the Leafs won 2 straight, I'm like, nah, they're winning that one. No, the Oilers are screwed. They're doomed. And it's got nothing to do with the Oilers fans. It's got nothing to do with you. You can often predict when the bad Leafs are going to show up. Yeah, but sometimes you can predict when the good ones are going to show up. Leafs lose game 5 to Florida, and you're like, well, they're winning game 6. And the Leafs are like, correction, we are winning and getting a shutout in game 6. Because we knew! And then mumbles through game 7. Anyway, there were no goals in the first period of this game, but it's hard to exactly pinpoint why. This first period, and really the rest of the game, felt a lot like last season. That's not like it went particularly well. It's not like the Leafs dominated or anything, and the Leafs won the division last season. So what are you talking about, Steven? What I'm talking about is last season, the Leafs very often gave up more shot attempts. They gave up more shots. The other team had the puck more than them, and the Leafs won. Is that just superior goaltending? Well, they had great goaltending last season. Anthony Stolarz was a huge part of that. But really, it was the Leafs limiting the damage. Like, yeah, the other team's got the puck a lot. Yeah, they're throwing stuff on net, but most of it's garbage. You never really feel like you're in danger. The Oilers did get a few looks, but it wasn't like last night against Calgary when you're hitting one off the crossbar and then it bounces off the goal line and out the other way, or you're getting robbed off a bounce. It goes in front of the net. The goalie dives from behind the net and hits it with his paddle. Calgary had better looks than Edmonton did. And to me, that just adds to the leafiness of it all. It wasn't even the leafiest thing to happen in this game. Second period, the second line, stay hot. They had an excellent night in Calgary. Oh, did they get robbed. Matias Maccelli robbed by Connor Ingram. Leafs with a good chance, a good flurry here, good possession. They get it back to the point. Jake McCabe puts it on. Matias Maccelli in his bag tonight. The guy's got a pretty good shot, and I wish he would use it more. He's typically more of a playmaker. This is a beautiful tip. McCabe puts it on and it's deflected by Maccelli, and the Leafs take the 1-0 lead. Now this was, of course, shortly following a fight. And I gotta give this guy his flowers. And a scolding, but mostly his flowers. Brandon Carlo. Oh, I've been carving him recently on account of Fraser Minton is the reigning rookie of the month, and he hasn't been good. But I gotta tell you, of all the people I should have given more flowers to in the Flames LFR, I should have given more to Carlo. He was really good. And the Leafs gave him the game belt as a result. In this one, he hits Connor McDavid, and Connor McDavid goes down in a heap. And this is how you know this is the Leafs' last game before the Olympics, because I'm actually screaming at my TV, that's the first hit you threw this season, and it was against McDavid on Olympics Eve! Oh, I was hot. But then McDavid stayed out for the rest of the shift and almost scored, and I didn't feel so bad. But then Brandon Carlo gets in a fight with Darnell Nurse. Now, Brandon Carlo's a big guy. He's 6'5". He's pretty heavy too. I think he's like 220, 230, something like that. He's in that weight class. Yeah, but he's no, he's not. Darnell Nurse is one of the meanest heavyweights in the NHL, and he has significantly more experience at this than Carlo. Did Carlo win the fight? He did not. But he fought, and opinions on Darnell Nurse run hot and cold, but Carlo took a guy who makes $9.25 million off the ice for 5 minutes, and that's usually a victory. Now, the Edmonton Oilers had something to say about that with their fists, and after the Leafs made it 1-0, they had something to say on the score sheet. Because Jake Wallman, who the Oilers have missed, they don't have to miss him anymore. He's back. He has the puck at the blue line. Traffic in front. Why not? Stolarz is playing great. Take his eyes away. Wallman blasts this thing. I don't think it touches a molecule of nothing except the back of the net. And the Oilers have tied it. Oh boy. Oh, you feel the momentum swinging. It was one of those games. Let's go Oilers. Go Leafs, go. It wasn't nearly as dominant as it was in Calgary last night, but still a very strong Leafs contingent there in Edmonton. 9 seconds later. 9. I don't often get to say this in LFR, so I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to Connor Ingram, because if you're a goaltender, tend the goal! This wasn't a very good play from him. The Leafs get it deep. Ingram comes out of his net to play it, and Darnell Nurse is right there. There's no problems here. Now, there is an official kind of in Nurse's way, but this puck wasn't going there anyway. I think this thing was just off target. Nick Waugh collects, finds Matthew Nyes, tucks it in. Beautiful, and he breaks quite the slump. He hadn't scored for 3 straight games, and he scored in this one. That's not actually that bad. But before his game against the Buffalo Sabres on January 27th, when he scored, he had gone 10 straight without scoring. So if you really want to split hairs, that's 1 goal in 14 games heading into this one. Well, he bags it, and it's a nice one, and it's the go-ahead goal. 2-1 lead. And they would take that into intermission. You know, I felt good. Listen, there's a few teams in this league, and I've said this many times, the game never ends. Like, eventually they run out of time, but there is no moment in the hockey game worth turning off. Vegas is one of them. We talked about that. They go up big, they go down big, they blow it, they come back. Sure enough, another team in their division, the Edmonton Oilers, do that all the time. So what's going to happen in this one? Early in the third period, I want to go back in time. It's very early in the Leaf season. In fact, I believe it's the home opener. I think the Leafs had a 4-1 lead over the Montreal Canadiens, and while in the middle of blowing the lead, Kasperi Kapanen breaks his stick and throws it at Jeff Petrie. That is a penalty shot. And if I'm not mistaken, the Habs scored on that penalty shot and tied the game. And I'll never forget the camera this close to Max Domi's face. Max Domi on the Habs at that point goes, "Way to go, Kapanen, you funny idiot." I don't think he said funny. I don't know. I can't read lips. Anyway, I thought of that clip when Kasperi Kapanen burns through the Leaf zone. Max Domi does this limp little flyby with his stick, and Kapanen just rips the thing. You know what? The Oilers have been a completely different team since getting Zach Hyman back. Not nearly enough people are talking about the season that Kasperi Kapanen is having. Now, the reason for that is he's barely played. He keeps missing time with long-term injuries. But in the 18 games he has played, 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points, plus 7. He's getting a decent amount of shots, a decent amount of hits. He's fast still. He's adding a ton to that lineup. I think that's part of the reason there's all these Bobby McMahon rumors for him going to Edmonton. Like, they're just built out of former Leafs. Why not continue the trend? Anyway, it's a tie game now. So, we're in the third period. What's great about that is at second intermission, we hit a milestone. The Leafs hit, and I'm not making this up, you can go look it up, 3 hours of game time without a power play. In case you missed it when I said it last night, the Leafs got a power play about 5 minutes into the third period against Seattle. That was the last one, so 15 minutes left in the game. At the end of that game, their drought is at 15 minutes. Then they play the Vancouver Canucks. They don't draw a single power play. the whole 65-minute game because it went to the shootout. The asterisk on that is they did get a penalty shot, but that's not the same as a power play. 15 plus 65 equals 80. Then they play against the Calgary Flames, 20, 40, 60. The entire game they don't get a power play. That's 140 minutes. That is 2 hours and 20 minutes. First period against Edmonton, nothing. Second period against Edmonton, nothing. We did it! 3 hours! Like, is that the record? How would you even look that up? Is that the franchise record? How would you even look that up? But the Christmas miracle, and a little bit of irony, Matt Savoy trips former Oiler Troy Stecher. The Leafs go to the power play. Then, controversial moment, Matthias Janmark and Austin Matthews are both going for a puck that's going into the Leaf zone. They get tangled up. Janmark's stick hits Matthews in the face, and he gets the only goal. Now, the stick does hit Matthews in the face. It's a penalty. Janmark should have been going to the box, no matter what. But the argument was that Matthews should have been getting a hold or an interference or something because of the way he was messing with Janmark, and they should both be going. And I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Janmark, that's 100% a penalty. He should have been going to the box. Matthews, maybe. But after 3 hours of no power play time, 0 seconds, so the Leafs go from 3 hours of absolutely no power plays to 6 seconds into their first power play. They get a near 2-minute 5-on-3. Hilarious. William Nylander, who's been absolutely on one, gives it to John Tavares, who shovels it in. Let's go! They score and take the lead. Less than a minute later, they're still on the power play. Max Domi finds Matthias Maccelli. He blasts it. Let's go! Up 2 now! You know, there is a world where you could look at the Leafs going through Western Canada, all 3 of Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton, and say 2 goals on the power play is not enough. You need more than 2 power play goals across 3 games. Meanwhile, their power play through Western Canada was literally 100%. In fact, the Leafs have scored on their last 3 power plays because the last power play that the Leafs got before this game, Shane Wright goes to the box for Seattle. Morgan Riley scored a power play goal. So you're going to look at the amount of power play goals the Leafs have scored and been like, man, they got to pick up their socks. You can't do better than 100, man. You can try, I guess. Ask them to score them themselves. Do the numbers even work? I don't know. Dude, this is what I'm talking about. Like, it's definitely at least a little bit of a thing. This is such a tight league. The conferences are so tight. The divisions are so tight. You need power play opportunities. When you get those opportunities, you have to bloody score. If the Leafs scored a single power play goal through the first 3 months of the season, they might not be selling right now, but if, we'd still have dinosaurs if it weren't for that pesky asteroid. They need calls, is what I'm saying. And in this game, they got them. Stolarz makes a few real good saves. He looked exactly like the Stolarz I remember from last year before he was intentionally injured by Sam Bennett. What's that? Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. For the next 3 weeks, Sam Bennett is not guilty of, he's never injured anyone. Let me see the script. For the next 3 weeks, Sam Bennett is a Canadian icon. For the next 3 weeks, I will be cheering for Sam Bennett, who plays for my favorite team, the one with the leaf on it. Go, Canada, go, Steve. Okay, that last part was that was easy. That was the easy part. You should have led with that. Under 3 minutes to go. The net is empty, and who else? Who else? Where is he from? You only heard it 1,000 times on the broadcast tonight. Wainwright, Alberta's own Bobby McMahon ices it. His 19th of the season, and was that Bobby McMahon's final game in a Leaf uniform? We'll find out when we find out. The trade deadline is not until March, right? It's March 6th. But the Olympic trade deadline, I believe, is tomorrow at noon? Or no, tomorrow at 3? It's tomorrow. And actually, when you watch this, it'll be today. Actually, when I'm shooting this, it's today. It's midnight. Okay. Will he end up in Edmonton? I think he's a good fit. I think he had a great showing in this one. And Oilers fans, if you're watching this, I can tell you, he's never been a better hockey player. Like, he's been around. There have been flaws in his game. I know you see the stats from his playoff run last year. I think he had 3 assists in like 13 games. Yeah, he wasn't great. At the beginning of the season, I was talking about how Bobby McMahon might not necessarily be an everyday player. He has worked his way up through the bottom 6, did so well there. Played with Tavares a bit, but that line, hot and cold, and they've tried it a few times over the years, and I never really fell in love with it. McMahon with Matthews, holy cow. Real good stuff. Questions. How do you feel about the refs getting the Leafs a win? Can I show you how I'm going to sleep tonight knowing that? Okay, like, let's say you're right. You know what? I agree that you're right. The refs gave the Leafs one. Here's how I'm going to... They went 3 hours without one! And then they got 2 against you, and it sucks to be you! I'm sorry, Mr. I cheer for a team that's been to back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals. Am I supposed to feel bad for you? Because you have 64 points and the Leafs have 63. You're tied for the division lead in the Pacific, and the Leafs are 5 points out of a playoff spot? Oh yeah, no, the league has been so rigged in the Leafs' favor. The league has been so rigged in the favor of a team that hasn't won since 2 years prior to man landing on the moon. Would you stop? How do I feel? Great! Genuinely wonderful! The win was better because that happened. I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much if the Leafs just beat them straight up. I'm glad you got screwed. Chad asks, ref show, have fun missing playoffs. That's not a question, Chad. And there's no way Edmonton's gonna miss the playoffs. You're about to give up 4 picks for Bobby McMahon, and he's gonna get you right over the top. Did you call it or did you call it? Season 19 of LFR, my friend. Listen, I might not know how to break news about 3-on-3 leagues. You know, that was bad. But I do know the Leafs. And lastly, will there be any videos covering the Olympics, like LFR style going through the game? Yep! I'm going to be doing streams for all the Canadian men's games on the STPN YouTube channel, and I'm going to be doing LFR style videos of LFR, yeah. Just like I did for the Four Nation Face-Off, on this channel. Jesse is going to be streaming the Canadian women's games. Adam is going to be streaming all the Team USA games, and I think some Team Sweden games. Obviously, we'll be super active if there's any big trades over the next less than 24 hours. Oh, and tomorrow we're going to record a brand new episode of the Steve Dangle podcast. Julian McKenzie visiting us in studio because he has a new book that came out today, well, technically yesterday, called Black Aces, and we're going to be talking about that. So my friends, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Bobby McMahon! Let's go!